Good morning. My name is Reverend Jen Crow. I'm one of your co-senior ministers here at First Universalist. It's an absolute joy to be together this morning. This is a place that continues to inspire me and keep me grounded, no matter what's going on in my life and in the world. So this is a community where for the last 176 years, we have proclaimed a love so big that everyone is included in the circle, that everyone's life experiences, that everything that makes you who you are is absolutely welcome and wanted here. So this is a community where we listen deeply to where love is calling us next. It's a place where we welcome, affirm, and protect the light in each human heart, and where we do our best to serve justice with courage and humility and compassion. We do all of this as a faith community deeply committed to racial justice, and we're so glad you're with us today. So I want to remind you of lots of different opportunities to be connected with us, even after worship today. There's coffee hour right after the service. There's a special play date that's happening today for 2nd to 7th graders and their grown-ups. There are opportunities to gather today for other groups as well. You can find out all the details on our website, but I want to especially point out at 1:30, the Black, Indigenous, People of Color, Multiracial Youth Group at 1:30, and of course, music and story time for families with little ones up through 1st grade. Like I said, you can find all those links on the church website and others too. There are gatherings throughout the week for kids and adults and families, and there's always worship on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock now too. So I want to share some good news with you as well. This from the First Universalist Foundation. So the First Universalist Foundation has just concluded its 2020 granting cycle this week by awarding $105,000 to 11 different organizations. So the awardees were among 25 worthy organizations and proposals that were submitted this year. And the foundation is pleased to continue in the spirit of the original endowment by supporting projects at the forefront of racial, climate, gender, and immigration justice, and for which our relatively small grant amount makes a significant difference to the awardees project. The foundation is in the process of notifying the organizations that have received the grants and is excited to share details soon. So they want to express their gratitude to First Universalist congregants for getting us off to a great start by nominating so many wonderful organizations for these grants. And now as we prepare to enter into this time of rest and renewal, hope and connection, I'm going to invite us to settle our minds and our bodies. So this is a time for you to make yourself comfortable wherever you are. For me, that's almost always letting my shoulders roll up and down to open up my chest. It's feeling my feet on the floor, and it's softening my gaze. And I'm going to invite us into 3 deep breaths together to settle our bodies and our minds. So big, full breath in, hold it for a beat, and then super slow exhale. Full breath in, hold it for a beat, and then very, very slow exhale. And then one more. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. It is good to arrive here with all of you. Let's start by lighting our chalice. If you have one at home, if you have a candle to light, or if you're just going to light in your mind and hold on to that light of love, let's be led through this ritual we shared together by Eleanor and Rosanna.
Please join me in the words for the lighting of our chalice. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Oh, good morning, everyone. So good to be with you. So let's sing together, shall we? This is a song that is one of my favorites. It's one that talks about searching and going out and being called back again into a community that loves us. Come, come, whoever you are. Please join us with an open heart as we sing together.
Come, come, whoever despair. Come yet again, come.
Good morning. My name is John Luderman. I'm in 9th grade. Today, I'm going to tell you the story about the Chinese farmer. Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer who lost a horse. It ran away, and all the neighbors came around that evening, and they said, "That's too bad." And the farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, the horse came back and brought 7 horses with it. And all the neighbors came around and said, "Why, that's great, isn't it?" And he said, "Maybe." The next day, the farmer's son was attempting to tame one of these horses and was riding it. He was thrown from the horse and broke his leg. And all the neighbors came around that evening and they said, "That's too bad, isn't it?" And the farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, the conscription officers came around looking for people for the army, and they rejected the farmer's son because he had a broken leg. And all the neighbors came around in the evening and said, "That's wonderful." And he said, "Maybe." So life requires us to adjust constantly, to keep our minds open, to take in new information. We must have humility and realize that we don't know everything. We can't even be sure of the consequences of our own actions. This doesn't mean that our choices don't matter, or that we should feel like that we have no power to create good in the world. It doesn't mean that we should leave hard decisions up to chance, or give up on doing things that we will think will turn out well. That's part of what's difficult about being a human. We have to make choices all the time, even when we don't have the best information to guarantee we're making the best choice. There are 3 things we can do. 1. We can use science and reason to think through what makes sense. 2. We can listen to each other's ideas and experiences to broaden our knowledge. 3. We can listen to the still, small voice in our hearts to guide us. And finally, we act with humility, bravery, and compassion. That's the best we can do. Will it be enough? Maybe. Maybe it will be. May it be so.
Oh, thank you, John. That was great. Every year, it's my privilege and my greatest joy to accompany and lead our coming of age class of 9th graders. Yesterday, we did a big virtual celebration that was attended by about 100 people. And we bore witness to a group of youth who were exploring their faith and made statements about their faith, their understandings about God, their understanding about the nature of being a human being, what it is to die, what it is to live. Unitarian Universalism is a non-creedal religious tradition, and that means that we don't ask people to ascribe to a certain set of beliefs or a creed in order to be in religious community with us. Instead, we ask our youth and you into a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We believe that in order for faith to be real and to be vital, it has to be free to ask questions and free to wonder. And in order for faith to be meaningful, we have to be responsible for the truths that emerge, the truth of our answers. And so we ask ourselves, will this truth grow our souls? Will this truth enliven our communities? Will it make the world a better place? Today, we wanted to give you a taste of some of the statements that emerged from our coming of age class 2020. You just heard John Ludeman, who was one of our COA students, and now you're going to hear from Molly Horstman Olson, Meshach Mandel, and Everett Stephen. I wish that you had had a chance to hear yesterday's service if you weren't there, because every single one of those youth wrote such an authentic and heartfelt statement of faith. But we only have time for a few. So today, I'm very proud to say that I'm a Unitarian Universalist, and I hope you will say the same too after viewing these incredible youth of coming of age class 2020.
Hi, I'm Molly. On a clear night, when you're away from the city and air pollution, if you look up, you can see millions of stars filling the sky with specks of light. A sense of beauty and wonder overcomes me when I see the night sky. There's a whole other world up there, looking down and watching over us. I have always enjoyed stargazing, but after my grandpa died a few years ago, the night sky took on a new meaning for me. To me, it's as if each star is a loved one who has passed, and they are lighting up the night sky saying, "We are still here, and we still love you. Everything will be all right." The stars shine brightly even in the middle of the night. They have taught me that no matter how dark it gets, there is always a light to lead the way. When I look out my window at night and see the stars, I know that whatever happens during the day, the stars will still be there to comfort me when the sun sets. I have been looking at the stars a lot recently because of everything that is happening right now. I have had a lot of time to think about who I am and who I want to be in this world because I've had so much time at home without the influence of everyone outside. As it says in part of Passage 8 in the Tao Te Ching, when you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. I've been trying during quarantine to be simply myself and live to my full potential. While in school, there's so much pressure to fit in, and due to this break from being around everyone, I have been able to just be myself. I realized that I don't care about what I wear every day or care about checking social media. It doesn't matter that much to me because I'm not worried about who's going to see it. I didn't realize how much energy I spent caring about my appearance and keeping up with everything that is happening in everyone else's lives. Now I'm concentrating on what is happening in my own life, and I'm finding my own light in this scary time. The stars fill the sky, reaching to all corners of the universe. They can see everything that is happening and everyone who is sick. I believe that they are watching over those who are sick or having a hard time in general. The stars are here to look after us and protect us, never to judge us by our mistakes. I believe they are simply a caring community that fills the night sky. The thought that the stars are out there watching over me gives me hope for the future. I believe that whatever the next day may bring, if I am myself, everything will be all right in the end.
Ever since I was young, I loved to learn. I think this came from my mother. She used to always tell me not to be afraid to ask questions. So I did. When someone would tell me almost anything, I would ask why, or what, or who, or where. What is that thing with the numbers in front of the steering wheel? Why am I supposed to say it after you before I get on the city bus? How does gravity work? I would hear a fact and not be satisfied knowing just that it is true, but need to know why it was true. And every time I asked an adult a question, they would know. That seemed to me the way of the world. Adults knew everything, and I would get there by asking questions. As I got older, however, things started to not line up. If adults knew everything, then how could they disagree on things? And how is it that some adults led successful lives, and others end up in jail or homeless? I came to the conclusion that not every adult knew everything, just the best ones. As years passed, I came to realize that nobody knows everything. But a few parts of my elementary trains of thought have stuck with me. The first one is that knowledge can help you in life. I've lived by that as best as I can, asking and wondering whenever the need arises. The second one came to me after wondering about knowledge. Children who take algebra or chemistry will almost definitely retain more knowledge than their parents, yet their parents are still necessary to guide them. What do they have that we don't? I eventually came to this conclusion: wisdom. The question then arose, what is wisdom? Wisdom is those small pieces of information that you hear in an unlikely place and soon forget where you found it. Wisdom is also the knowledge you get from experience. Wisdom is what tells a parent not to make a flamethrower out of a match and bug spray, and lack of it is what tells a kid to do it. Wisdom tells your parents to wash their hands and brush their teeth, and lack of it is what tells kids that they don't want to. So how does this connect to a god or what I think happens after you die? For me, it matters, because I don't know. I don't know what happens when you die, nor do I know whether or not there is a god. As someone whose mind is rooted in knowing, I find it difficult to guess things and act like they are knowledge. So I won't. I'll leave it until I can know, whenever that may be. The best summary of my thoughts I found while scrolling the internet. It was Keanu Reeves being asked in an interview what he thinks happens when you die. His answer was simple, yet the deepest answer I've heard anyone give. He said, "I know that the ones who love us will miss us, and I can't say it any better than that. So since I can't know what happens after, I will focus on now. I will live to learn. I will read, I will listen, and I will ask, because human nature is defined by knowing and not knowing. I will try to listen to those who have more wisdom than me, and try to teach those who have less. I will listen and respect opinions, and I will experience what I can. Eventually, I will know what happens when you die. But until that day, I will learn what I can."
Hi, my name is Everett Stephen. I've always felt connected with nature. Ever since I was little, I enjoyed playing outside and going to parks. Till this year in coming of age, I had never really thought about God or any sort of higher being. Through our activities in class and the discussions we had, I've come to realize that the higher being I feel connected to is essence-like. It is organic, genderless, and incorporeal. It is something that is always there and gives me comfort when I need it. In my mind, I can relate this to the water in a river, flowing and connecting other bodies of water, as well as the riverbanks, the stones at the bottom, and the roots of the trees. This energy not only flows through nature near the water, but through all living beings. I believe the essence moves from one person to another, helping and comforting. This is why I find a connection to the essence not only in nature, but also when surrounded by people in my everyday life. When I am near people, I feel loved and accepted. My perception of a greater being is also inspired by my sacred text, the Tao Te Ching. The main ideas of this text focus on compassion and forgiveness, as well as explaining the nature of the Tao. The Tao comes from Chinese philosophy and signifies the way for all beings. The essence that I feel connected to is my perception of the Tao. For my nature vigil, I went to Lebanon Hills, which is a park with some rocky areas, hills, and a pond. As I was trying to find a place to sit for the next hour and a half, I felt called to go near the water, where there were some dried reeds that were flattened. I almost felt as if I was guided by the Tao, helping me choose a place to sit that would connect me most to the essence. Water conforms to the shape that it is in, and flows from one place to another, similar to the Tao. In chapter 25 of Tao Te Ching, it states, "There was something formless and perfect before the universe was born. It flows through all things, inside and outside, and returns to the origin of all things." Another realization that I have come to through my journey in COA is what I have thought about death and the afterlife. Life is a cycle in which things are constantly dying, living, and being born. I believe that after we die, the Tao within us returns to the origin of all things and gives life to new beings. Although it may leave us to guide another life, the connection between us still remains. The great Tao flows everywhere. All things are born from it, yet it does not create them. It pours itself into its work, and yet it makes no claim. It nourishes infinite worlds, yet it doesn't hold on to them. Since it is merged with all things and hidden in their hearts, it can be called humble. Since all things vanish into it, and it alone endures, it can be called great. It isn't aware of its greatness, thus it is truly great. Thank you.
Where you go, I will go. my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. And your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine.
Oh, that is wonderful. It's almost like being in church there. Wow, it felt so good. Looking up in the balconies and now looking in the chat box, seeing all of you. Let us take a minute to settle into our connections to our bodies, our souls, our homes, ourselves, and if we have them, our connections to our others. Take a moment, settle, embody, think, feel those connections. Settle into the past dreams of our youth. Settle into the ambitions of our adulthood and our present age of acquired wisdom. Settle into our connections to one another and to the earth that is all of our homes. Settle into the connection we have to our elders and ancestors who gave us life. Settle into those we call and have done mothering and have done the best they could, given the resources, choices, and talents that they had. As we give thanks to those who have come before us, help us remember that their wisdom was hard-won and worth a lesson to listen. It is worth it. Their lessons deserve our ears. At the same time, we give thanks to the kids, to the children, to the teens, to the young adults who question, who dream, who challenge and interrogate. Let us give thanks to the unwanted resilience. Thanks for the unwanted resilience of those kids who have not played with a single friend in 2 months, who pass by empty playgrounds wishing they could swing and slide with abandon again. Let us give thanks for the unwanted resilience of old folks who wish they could sit on those benches in the park and smile while those children play. Today, friends, open our eyes to the joys and gifts to be learned and shared from all the seasons of life. Open our eyes that we may know love at each moment of our lives. Loves that are unique and profound in each season of our life. Friends, we invite you to make your sorrow visible from those different seasons. Make that sorrow visible in the chat box, or if you wish to hold them in the silent sanctuary of your heart, please go forward and list those things that you're thinking about today. So many people missing moms today. I know I miss my mother as well today. Missing the hugs. There are those who are missing the grandchildren today. Oh, so many things, so many desires, so much unwanted resilience that you all are displaying in the face of so many challenges, so much pain, so much sadness. Yes, continue, keep sharing. It is sharing that makes it real. Keep typing, those words coming in fast and furious. the speed of our hearts, the speed of our pain, the speed of our suffering together. The alacrity of the writing right now is pretty amazing. Let it come, let it be seen, let it be known. Do not hide. Do not hide. This is the place, this is the emergency room. Bring your challenges, bring your pain, bring your wounds. Today we also are mourning. We are mourning today the death, not one death, but many, but one in particular today. We mourn to death and celebrate the life of church member John Hancock. Come on, Yankee Candle. John Hancock was a beloved member of our community. He died from COVID-19 with 47 other elders, 47 other souls at Northridge Health and Rehabilitation Center in New Hope, Minnesota, the largest cluster of COVID deaths in this state. We light this candle for all of them that died with John, to acknowledge the heartache and the loss of this dear man, and to hold him and all those other humans in the light as sacred. May this light and his light shine on all of us forever. Dear ones, these are also times of mourning, but they're also times of endurance, and these are the times of surprising grace. Surprising grace, that's which breaks through and transforms our lives with hope and meaning. And so I invite you to share your joys and your surprises, those things that keep you going. I know for me, my daughter is going to be 3 months old tomorrow, and she can hold her head up to see the world in all of its glory and sadness. What are your surprises, joys that you want to share with us? And we ask you to also please list those in the chat so that we can rejoice with you and smile with you and be with you. Oh, all the old reunions that are happening online and singing, and oh, these are wonderful things. Happiness and joy. Again, the speed. I think I just like looking at how fast these joys are coming. They come as fast as the sorrow, but they're there. They're reminding us. They're keeping us strong. And for someone to read your joy may be just what somebody else needs to hear today. Might be just what they need. Thank you. Today we also rejoice with Elisha and Moitza House Remskar as they celebrate their wedding that was held just recently on May 3rd. Congratulations, newlyweds. Continue to look in the chat and be inspired, and let us look for more love, friends. Look for more peace. Look for more hope. Look for more resilience. Look for more tears when they're needed, more possibilities, more quiet, more reflection, more insight. Let's keep looking for it. Blessed be and amen.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Oh, you all, I'm feeling so filled up this morning, filled up with gratitude for the wisdom of our youth. So good to get to see them speak their truth yesterday and to hear them again this morning. I'm listening deeply to Meshach tell us that while we can't know everything, we can sure know some things, and we can keep our hearts open and our minds open and keep on learning and acting from that knowledge as we live. I'm holding Everett and his brilliant words of interconnection, how each and every one of us are interdependent, interconnected to one another and everything in this world. And Molly, with that wisdom that during this pandemic time, when the rush of everything that is part of our old normal life, of caring what we're wearing and what our friends are wearing and what's going on at school, when all of that stuff can wash away for a time, we can truly listen deeply to our hearts and to where love is calling us next. I'm listening to John tell that story that I love of the Chinese farmer, where all of these events happen. You think good, you think bad, but really you don't know. You can never know in the moment how something is going to turn out, just like this moment. And then there are the words from Reverend Karen that from her sermon last week that are still running through my mind. Those ethical questions we can use as guides. What is good and what is right? And then the idea of the pandemic as any moment, really, as a portal. A time we can choose to step through, letting go of the heavy luggage of the past that perhaps we don't want anymore, and step through the portal, the moment, whatever it is, lightly, and be a part of creating whatever comes next. This is the wisdom, just some of it, that has been shared in the last week in this church. And it is wisdom I'm holding on tight to as we go forward. I love this wisdom and this sense of hope because my heart is also heavy, and I'm sure yours is too. My heart is heavy with the news and events of the last weeks and the last months. My heart is heavy with the killing of Black men by white men for no reason other than racism. My heart is heavy because people keep putting out these false dichotomies, these false questions, saying that we must restart our economy at the consequence of real lives, real lives. My heart is heavy because there is a vacuum of national leadership right now, when what we need most from one another is calm and clarity and compassion, grounded in science and reason. So my heart is heavy with all of these things, as I imagine yours is too. There's so much weighing on me, and I'm doing my best to listen, to keep my ears and my eyes and my heart open to the hope and the wisdom of our youth. And I'm finding myself holding on like these are lifelines, these pieces of truth that we have heard today, that we continue to hear, that we are all connected, that we are in fact interconnected, interdependent with everyone who ever was and ever will be. That when we settle down, we can listen and hear what matters most, and we can hear the call of love in our hearts. That we can keep on learning no matter what, that we don't know how things are going to turn out, that we can be part of making things better. I'm holding on to each of these things like they are a literal lifeline in this time of heavy-heartedness and pain and confusion. And I'm holding on to wisdom that I hear in other sources as well. One of those pieces of wisdom for me comes from a dear colleague. I'm sure many of you have heard it before. It's a lifeline I hold on to help me make decisions along with all the things we've already heard today. And it goes like this, super simple. There are no other people's children. There are no other people's children. A colleague of mine says this all the time, and when I hear it, I hear a call to action. Hear a call to action to do and act as if there are no other people's children, but I also hear a call to open and expand my heart. You see, if there are no other people's children, maybe there are also no other people's parents, no other people's elders, no other people's mentors, no other people's beloveds. Maybe they are all my beloveds too. And what would it mean if I could crack my heart open that wide, to let love expand and grow so much in me, beyond the fierce love I feel for my children, for my family, my beloveds, my parents, my elders, my mentors, and move it out into a bigger and bigger circle until everyone, each and everyone, is included. Because weren't we all children once? Aren't we all children of the universe still? And there are no other people's children. We are each other's family, one family, now and always. This is a guide I use, a tether, literally, that I hold on to and that holds on to me all the time, especially when there are hard decisions to make. Now, my colleague is not the first one, I think, to say there are no other people's children. When we go back in time and when we listen, especially to the wisdom of our Universalist and Unitarian ancestors, we hear this message over and over in their lives and in what they had to say to us. If we go back 150 years, go back to 1870, and Julia Ward Howe, the Unitarian activist, we hear her cries for peace. She witnessed the devastation, the carnage and death and loss of the American Civil War, the people whose lives were irreparably harmed, changed, ended by the violence that happened there. We know that she witnessed the Franco-Prussian War and the violence that happened there and the devastation that it created. And 150 years ago, she called for women to unite all over the world for peace. She planted the seed of what is today's Mother's Day, and I think her words are still worth listening to today. Now, we have to remember she's writing in the gendered language and experience of that time way back in 1870. But here's what she had to say. Arise, arise all women who have hearts, whether your baptism be that of water or of tears. Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands will not come to us, reeking with carnage for caresses and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We women of one country will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. That's what she wrote. I hear it, and I hear her saying to us, may our hearts be too tender of those of another country, of those of another family, of those of another skin color. May our hearts be too tender of those of another to allow our children to be trained to injure theirs. Your children are my children, she's saying. Your family is my family. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you stay, I will stay. We are one human family, interconnected, interdependent, all of us in this together. So on this Mother's Day, when we have heard the wisdom of the youth and the wisdom of the ages, I invite us to let go of the crush and misdirection of capitalism, to let go of the way that Mother's Day has been created to be something it is not, and to embrace instead this call to be united for peace, to be united as one family, one love. I invite us to lean into the age-old Universalist vision of a love so big that everyone is welcome and wanted, that whatever we bring, all of our life experiences, all of our identities, everything that has shaped us, everything we have done, it is welcome here. All of who you are, all of who we are. We are a part of a love so big that it can hold it all, and no one will be let go. This is the age-old Universalist wisdom, friends. This is the wisdom of this church, of our history. And this is a community that helps me believe that something else is possible, something beyond division, something beyond separation, something that looks like real community, where we actually answer the call. When we say, your children are my children, your beloveds, my beloveds, we are in this together. You give me faith. We give me and all of us hope, I believe. So in this time when the decisions in front of us are difficult, when our hearts are heavy, and when we have hope as well, what is it that we hold on to? What is it that helps us guide our decisions? For me, I add to those set of lifelines, set of tethers that hold my heart and guide my decisions. That phrase from my colleague, there are no other people's children. I remember that we are interconnected, that when we slow down and listen deeply, we can, in fact, hear where love, not money, not fear, but love is calling us next. I hear that we can keep on learning, keep opening our hearts, that we don't know what this moment means just yet, but we can try to build a better future together. I hold on to these lifelines when I am trying to decide, do I go to that protest or not? Do I share what I have, even when there's a part of me that wants to cling to everything because I feel scared? What will I do? What decisions will I make when I have the luxury of choosing to go out or stay in? Who will be in my heart? Will it be everyone? I hope so. These are the pieces of wisdom I am using to help guide my decision-making in these days. We belong to each other. We are one another's family. That is who we are and who we will always be. Like I said at the beginning of our time together, it has been 176 years we've been proclaiming this vision of a universalist love here in Minneapolis. This is who we've always been through all times and all circumstances, and it is who we are right now. So friends, help us hold that love. Help us make it true in the world, beyond even this church community and this city of Minneapolis and these twin cities, but all the way out into this world. Let your heart be held by us. Let us hold that other end of the tether, other end of the lifeline, so you know you are worthy and welcome and wanted with all of who you are. And let us create that world together. May it be so. Amen. So our work together in this world is to create this love, to expand our hearts beyond just ourselves, but to our entire community. And one of the ways we do that is by sharing our financial resources, if we have them to share, with others who are in need and with other organizations that do the work of love in the world. So today our offering is going to go to Beacon Interfaith Housing Collaborative. Now Beacon, many of you know from your firsthand work with them and volunteering, but they provide housing to those in our community who are homeless or living without a home or needing some support along the way. Now in this time where Beacon can't host families who are experiencing homelessness in congregations or in buildings, wow, they are needing to put people up in hotels and do all kinds of innovative things to make sure people are safe. So there are a number of ways you can give to help Beacon to support these folks as they are getting back on their feet. So as you can see on the screen, you can text to give, you can use the Square Cash app, you can go to our website, and you can do it the old-fashioned way of just mailing a check right into the church. We pick them up and we'll make sure they get to the right place. So as you're making your gift, if that works for you, I invite us to all sing along. We have our music from the beloved Anne Reed with us today as she sings a song that's familiar to many of you, We Will Walk On. Join us.
It's a long road we've set our feet upon. A long road we've set our feet upon. And with loving hearts we walk on. With loving hearts walk on. We will walk on. We will walk on. When bridges are built with open hands, bridges are built with open hands, and we begin to heal the world. We begin to heal the world. We will Take a single flame and pass it on. Take a single flame and pass it on. And it's enough to light the way. It's enough to light the way. We will light the way. We will light the way. We will light the way. When the sun shines through all of us, there on the road will be a rainbow in front of us. Wherever we go, wherever we go. All the souls who came before us standing here. All the souls who came before us standing here. You can hear them whisper low. You can hear them whisper low. We will walk with you. We will walk with you. We will light the way. We will light the way. We will heal the world. We will heal the world. We will walk on. We will walk on. We will walk on. We will walk on.
It's good to hear that music. It's good to remember all those who are with us as we do our part and do our work in this world. So, as always, we love you. We want to be connected with you. We want to help one another through this time. So please, if you are not hearing from us, let us know so we can be connected with you. Let us know if you are struggling so that we can reach out. Let us know if you need us because we're here. We're here with you. So I want to remind you that there's coffee hour happening right after church. Maybe you want to join in and make some new friends or see some familiar faces. There's a special Sunday play date right after the service at 11:30 for 2nd to 7th graders and their grown-ups. There'll be a post-worship survey that'll pop up when you leave this Zoom meeting. Please take a moment to take it and let us know about your experience. And remember, we have worship together on Wednesday nights too at 7 o'clock. So let's share in some closing words together. I hold my hands out to remember that we are connected, each to the other, interdependent now and always. To remember that we are one family, always in this together. Let love guide our way. May it be so. Amen. And let's sing together. Go now in peace.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Wherever we are, the light continues to shine in our hearts. We are connected. So I invite you, as you extinguish your chalice at home, if you wish to type into the chat box, I carry the flame. We carry your light in our hearts.